I had a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and conjoint with a Bachelor of Health Science in Health Policy and Public Health. So I thought with a very specialised degree like that I wouldn't have any trouble finding a job. Quite quickly found that that wasn't the case. I actually secured a paid job in Cairo with the United Nations Development Program. After a year, I quit my job and I thought I'll come back to New Zealand because my family lives here. You know, I was born and raised here. Came back and I thought I'd get a job straight away. I was told that, you know, again, I didn't have New Zealand experience. International experience wasn't important. And then I got told, one interview I was told I was overqualified for an admin role. After 3-4 months, you start thinking, maybe I should work retail, you know? And so what happened was that I decided to go back into study. I was really forced back into study.
I was employed as an architectural graduate. I graduated with a master's degree from the University of Auckland a couple of years prior. It was all going well up until the start of February, when I was told that they apparently no longer have work for me to do to keep me on full time.
I'm currently on a job seeker's benefit, but I'm working towards full-time employment as an apprentice at the moment, but it's unpaid work. When I went into it, it was still the sickness benefit, and then they've had changes since then. So it puts everyone into the job seekers support, I think it's called.
I had no income for over 7 months. I don't know how I made it through. I don't have any savings now.
To be frank, it was really shitty. And I went through all the motions, obviously, and until I eventually convinced myself, well, I had to convince myself that it wasn't me. The morale following that was probably the most difficult part of all of it.
I definitely went through depression last year because I had these achievements that I was proud of, but achievements that weren't satisfying to the employment market here.
You're probably more prone to picking up, you know, depression and things like this through, I don't know, going to WINS and being out of work for that long. You apply for so many jobs, they tell you, you know, you have to apply for this many jobs a week. And to be still unemployed after you're just hearing no all the time, it can really be quite draining. When I'm not working, you've got all the time in the world, so you sort of put things off a bit because you go, oh, you know, I'll just do it tomorrow or I'll do it later or whatever. Whereas when you've got the structure of work in place, then you know you've only got a limited amount of spare time, so you start, you know, time managing a lot better. I actually got into things outside of WINS that were more helpful. I went through a CADS program, which then I found out about Toi Ora.
Toi Ora means art and wellbeing. It's a creative space for anyone with any experience of mental health issues to come and make stuff and learn through that. I think probably one of the biggest things is having a really supportive, tolerant community here that allows for that to happen, so you can start to see yourself in a different way. They have to be really proactive and really creative in order to actually create the kind of role that fulfills them and works for their mental health as well. Because a lot of the time people, you know, they come here and they really thrive, and then going to employment, there's a lot of jobs that don't serve people's mental health. Sometimes it gets sold as being kind of the icing on the cake or the fluffy stuff on the top, where it's actually quite a profound experience for a lot of people. It's actually a really hard time to be a young person, and I don't know, there's no should, you know, there's no, because we hear that a lot in this space as well, you know, you should just stop being depressed to get over it and get a job, and you know, so that's not useful, you know. We're where we are for a reason. It's not just about ourselves, it's about our whole context and our whole social world and whether it values us or not, you know.
There's always going to be people who are lazy, who are on benefit, who are not interested in working, just want to do nothing and get by. and but we've sort of been brought up, our generation, to think that we can do whatever we want. The world is ours.
It's this battle within yourself that actually I deserve to work, and I deserve to enjoy the job that I'm doing. Shouldn't be forced into low paid labour. I should have a living wage. I deserve all these things, but because you're constantly being told you're not, especially at interviews, it's kind of ridiculous.
Our parents' generation, whatever, when they have their midlife crisis point, where I think our generation is almost having that same midlife crisis, but, in their early 20s, where they've sort of been jumping around different things and they don't have that stability, and they're going, oh, we've been told we can do what we want, we've got all these options. I'm trying to find this thing that I'm really passionate about.
I really dislike that patronising position of the older generation that received free university, who have a mortgage, own a home. I think at people my age, I can't even imagine paying off my student loan. Secondly, I can't even imagine owning a home, or owning an apartment, So when someone from that generation is to confront me with this, why don't you just accept any job? Well, would you accept any job?
Yeah, the world we're in at the moment, as I said, on the one hand is telling us we can and should be doing everything and promising a lot to us, and then there's not the care in place. I don't think the care and the support and the love to allow us all to make that happen,
As young people that are coming out into society and working and have all these critical ideas that have been supposedly fermenting throughout university or high school, it's so important that there's a space for us in the community, in workplaces, because without these new ideas, New Zealand will be irrelevant.